2 teams remain, 10 teams are out, 16 long weeks now, hear the crowd shout. Blood, sweat and tears just to make it this far. Too many beers, dreams, reaching for stars. Tears hit the floor, highs touch the sky. All for one goal when the final scores fly. Cause it all be worth it when the season's done. When you call yourself champ and the trophy is won. Championship week is the final stand. Only 2 left and still command. Who will rise, who will fall, who will reign supreme. Welcome to the title game and in the fantasy tree. Championship week is the final stand. Only 2 left and still command. Who will rise, who will fall, who will reign supreme. Welcome to the title game and in the fantasy tree. Here comes Clint, the king from day one. Powerhouse roster, yeah, second to none. Great keepers locked, draft went just right. Best record in the league, every week a fight. Stacked at every position, no weakness in sight. Scoring with the best, blowing up the night. Heavy favorite, crown already seen. He plans to rule all the way, fantasy king. This is a championship week, is the final stand. Only 2 left and still command. Who will rise, who will fall, who will reign supreme. Welcome to the title game and in the fantasy dream. Championship week is the final stand. Only 2 left and still command. Who will rise, who will fall, who will reign supreme. Welcome to the title game and in the fantasy dream. But don't sleep on John, hear the underdog roar. Pull the upset of a lifetime. Sean's out the door, not the flashiest names, not the deepest of stats, but passion and heart, keep pulling it back. Knocked down before, still stood tall. Every comeback louder than the last call. From unknown to legend, if he pulls this through. For all bench trash talk, John gets the last laugh too. And let's not forget who's missing this fight. Last year's champ, watch it from the couch tonight. Call it karma, voodoo, or the fantasy God's plan. But Sean's not defending as today, he is just a fan. This is the last week. Championship week is the final stand. Only 2 left who still command. Who will rise, who will fall, who will reign supreme. Welcome to the title game in the fantasy dream. Championship week is the final stand. Only 2 left who still command. Who will rise, who will fall, who will reign supreme. Welcome to the title game in the fantasy dream. This is the last week of fantasy football. Hear the call, long tough road, but we made it through all. Championship time, lights shining bright. 2 teams, 1 crown, 1 epic fight. Good luck to Clint, good luck to John. You both earn your place. Now the gloves are on. Great seasons behind you. Right now it's time. Show the world what you're made of. It's championship time. It's championship time.
Championship week is upon us, and also brings the last week of fantasy football. As the song said, it's been a long, tough road, but we made it. And here we are, ready to crown ourselves a champion. A new champion, not a 2-time reigning, defending champion, right? Clint and John have both won titles in this league in the past. But at least it's not Sean this year again. It'll be one of those two. So, all right, let's break it down, shall we? As we dive into here our week 17, and we're gonna do one pick, the championship game, on who we think is gonna finish as our champion. So, but before we do that, let's look at both brackets, and I'm gonna scroll down. We'll take a look at the losers bracket, because remember, that's still going on. There's still some things to play for, much more than pride. Some teams that are still alive, in that bracket are playing for draft picks, or the draft position, actually, of what that's going to turn out for next year. So we scroll down. A few things have already been determined. 11th and 12th place. Ian, it looks like, finishes 12th. Dez finishes 11th. We'll wrap all this up after next week. And, I'll post the final standings and what draft order will already look like for next year and all of that. But there are still a few games, to take place here. So the ninth place game. So to determine, we know 11th and 12th. We need to know who's ninth and 10th on here. And then seventh and eighth still to be determined. And of course, the winner of this breakdown, this matchup here between Jake and Will have the number 1 pick. And then whoever loses that one will have the number 2 pick, which of course plays a lot into, right, who you're deciding to keep. So if you win this, you really, if you had a keeper to pick in the first round, well, now you don't have to keep them because they'll be available to you if you choose at the number 1 pick, and so will anybody else. And actually, we're starting to get to the time, right, where there's a lot of keepers that have been kept now for 2 years that will be released back into the pool. So actually, this is the year out of the last couple of years at least to have that number 1 pick, because there's going to be a lot more talent to choose from this year, in which there wasn't last year. So congrats to Jake and Will for making it this far. Of course, they missed the actual playoffs and any money, but they still got a game to play. There's still something on the line for those two to see who gets that number 1 pick. So, all right, let's scroll up to the games that matter. Same thing here as we talked. The game that's already played and determined between myself and Jay. My team, of course, performs after the week that we had the week prior, in which we lost. And we score 149 points when it really didn't matter. But you know what? I'll take the 5th spot. I mean, again, it matters with draft order. And then Jay gets the 6th spot ending. So, and then we still have 2 main games to wrap up the season. With last week here, we've got our 3rd place game between Adam and Sean. 2 team owners very disappointed they didn't make the championship final and go for the big money. But remember, we do pay out 3rd place, and that gets your money back. So however you want to take that, if you just want to say, you know what, I won my money back, I'm even, I didn't even play fantasy football, there was no signs that you could prove that I did because there was no payment out, whatever makes you feel better about yourself, or just to know, hey, I finished 3rd, really close, and now, take all that and put it into next year's strategy one. So Adam and Sean fighting for 3rd place, and, still that 3rd place payout. But a real match that matters is our championship game between Clint and John on here. And I know the song kind of pointed it out, right, as we can already see on the projections. And I know that, their lineups probably aren't final yet. We still have a little bit of time with the holiday and so on before they're going to actually, start playing against each other. But it already shows you Clint is a heavy favorite. And the song kind of called it out when I put all of that in there. Clint's our number 1 team. Clint's been the favorite all year. He's a powerhouse, projected, I think, even before the season started, to be one of the 2 or 3 best teams, and has not let himself down, his team down, and he's right there. And then John, pulled the upset last week, defeated Sean. We all thought that it was going to be Clint versus Sean. AI thought that weeks ago and pretty much told us that nobody else had a chance. But here we are. We got somebody other than them two, in the championship. And we've got John versus Clint. So we're not going to do the breakdown, position by position, all of that. I mean, we can take a look at it real quick just by looking at the team. And again, I know I scrolled down. John doesn't have a defense in, so lineups aren't complete yet. We've got a few days before all that, really locks in. But just the overview, even if he puts in a defense, let's say it gives him 10 points, 119, he's still going to be a heavy underdog going into this. So if we're picking our championship team, I would love to pick John here. John, you've defied the odds all year long. I've been making fun of your team, and Sean, you got to deal with what Sean says throughout the year and so on, and you've rose above it all. You're here in the championship game, but unfortunately, I don't think you have enough. You would need the cards to go your way 100%. It would almost have to be perfect, where not only that your players all perform extremely well, but then Clint's players would have to underperform a ton, and that's just hard to predict when Clint's team typically doesn't underperform. And if it is one player or two that maybe doesn't live up to where, they're supposed to land, he's got many other players at other positions who can make up for that, exactly like how we did last week and so on. So my championship pick to who will be our champion and win the title is Clint. I think for the most part fairly easily. So there you go, John. There's your motivation, man. You will have one hell of an epic song recap for next week if you're able to pull this off. I mean, either one of you will, of course. That's how I plan on making the video, is really kind of a recap of whoever wins in their year and really giving them credit for, one hell of a win and, winning the championship, being our title holder. But John, I think you would love your intro song if you're able to pull this upset. I just don't see it. So there you go. There's our predictions and kind of what we're looking at with both brackets. So yeah. And we're winding down, right? Really, just one more video after this, which will, talk about our champion and kind of recap our draft positions, and then it's the off season. So that has definitely come, for the most part, fairly fast. For some of us, I'm sure there's a few of you out there that have been out of it for weeks, and you already feel like, the off season started multiple weeks ago, right, Ian? Yep. So, all right. Good luck, Clint and John, as you guys battle for the title this week. And of course, then with the holiday week here, Merry Christmas to all of you, and enjoy some fun football.
This is the last one. Championship week is the final stand. Only two left to still command. Who will rise, who will fall, who will reign supreme? Welcome to the title game, living the fantasy dream. Championship week is the final stand. Only two left to still command. Who will rise, who will fall, who will reign supreme? Welcome to the title game, living the fantasy dream. This is the last week of fantasy football. Hear the call, long tough road, but we made it through all. Championship time, lights shining bright. Two teams, one crown, one epic fight. Good luck to Clint.